Hope y'all having a wonderful day. Make sure you hit that like button while y'all hanging out with me, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started here. Appreciate all y'all chiming in. What's going on? Hope y'all having a good day. Sebastian, appreciate that. Ed as well. Appreciate y'all. Go feel free to ask questions while I'm going through all this stuff. So today, we're talking about the Enzo X. I know, again, but this time in a completely different context. I've been doing a lot more digging into getting into synthesizers, rather. As you can tell from my pedal board setup, this is my main pedal board setup. This is kind of like an auxiliary board that for the studio that I use to get these particular sounds. But this is my main gigging setup here. And the reason I've been able to transition to something like this versus having a Terra Nova 42 pedal board like it's actually sitting on a Terra Nova 42, which is the size of this 61 keyboard. So, this is about half of that size. But the biggest part of that is the Enzo X, right? So let me explain. So everything you just heard was the Enzo X. And a lot of times when you're hearing the Enzo X, you're hearing more. Let me go and switch my stuff over here. Bam. You're hearing more stuff like this. Right? So you don't really know. I mean, you may or may not know that, of course, you can play the Enzo X with a keyboard. Right? So we hear it in that context. Appreciate that 777. I've been seeing you chiming in the comment section and stuff. I definitely appreciate you. I have, but I will again in a little bit. I'll run through how my pedal board is just the pedal order in a little. Well, I'll just do it real quick, just cause you always chime in. So real quick, we're going to go right back to the Enzo X. But just so you guys know, my routing of this is my main pedal board coming into the Empress compressor, into the Future Impact, then over to the MXR bass synth, out of here to the POG 3. And once it gets to the POG 3, it's stereo. And then that's running into the whole rest of the routing is stereo. Enzo X, and then the two Tone X1s, left and right. And then that's running to the Mercury X and then into the Jamman Solo HD. And I use a Canvas audio, Canvas stereo line isolator there. So hope you're having a good day. And no, I haven't tried the high hands. All right. So now we back on to the Enzo X, right? So that's something we know it has those type of sounds, of course. But what I've been able to design, because it is a full synth, right? So I've been able to get string sounds. Crazy string sounds too. Right? Been able to get brass sounds. I can do synth pad. And I also had that set up so I can do more stab, synth brass, stab type stuff. And of course, I can still use the same sound. So you can use those same sounds back and forth, rada. Get like EP type sounds, like a toy piano. And the reason why some of these the volume is low just because they're meant to go as pads underneath stuff. So when I'm looping, I don't have time to be mixing and doing all of that. So I try to do it all at once, right? So when I'm making my presets in this context, these are for my personal stuff. I want the sounds to already be around the volume I need them to be when I loop them, So one of my favorite sounds I've been able to make I absolutely love this sound. So and that works for chords and synth based stuff. So I can. Let me switch to bam. And it's also polyphonic. So. And I got it set up so I have two different envelopes. This is more of the sustain when I press the sustain pedal, but I'm not using the sustain pedal. I'm actually using my MIDI controllers down underneath. So I have a MIDI captain, that's 10-foot switches, and also have the matching 10-foot switch for the Graviton M1. So I primarily use the M1's foot switches for preset changes, program changes. And I primarily use the MIDI captain as my CC for my CC messages or my parameters. So let me move this. It's in my way. Can't get my mic over here. All right. So, I got plenty of options with sounds, even using the same sound, based on which controller I'm using. It's like they interact slightly different. So it definitely helps me have a variety of sounds that are available, right? Excuse me. So, oh man, I didn't mean to replace that one. I replaced one of my presets I wasn't trying to replace. But yeah, it's definitely worth the 600. Like it's equivalent to something sound wise and like functionality wise. It's close to like a CS80 to be honest, like a lot of these sounds. That's just a great sound. Like the way you can do all of this stuff with the Enzo X, as well as if I want any of my, like, I still have all my bass stuff here available to me, and this is super important when you're creating an album or you're creating you're just in your creative flow for writing, right? The reason I have all these presets is because I'm not trying to sit here creating presets while I'm trying to either loop live or I'm creating. Appreciate you, Sam, for the subscribe. And Deanna, appreciate you as well. Hope I'm saying y'all names right. I hope I can say Sam, but I don't always say everybody's name right, but I definitely appreciate y'all subscribing. Yeah, the amazing thing about the actual, let's see what we got going on here. Make sure we get, there we go. The amazing thing about the Enzo X, you got all your bass. Let me switch over my preamps here. Which is absolutely my favorite envelope filter. And I can also make that a LFO filter. And all this is within the Enzo X, right? I can not only have a beautiful envelope filter, I can make that a ladder or a state filter, which is a negative 24 dB or negative 12 dB, which is the same filters as same style of filter as like the Moog stuff. So you get your very Moogish stuff, that was meant for synth, but you can use it on your bass. I can make that a LFO filter. I can make it an LFO, just means it'll be constantly oscillating on its own automatically, similar to, what? I think it replaced all of them. This is supposed to be global preset. I want it. I don't know where my other bass sound just went. What did I just do? That's just me. It's on here somewhere, but I'll have to find it. But I'll just turn it on there. So this would be an example of an LFO filter type sound. It's like that, always oscillating, even though that's technically a modulation. All right, let's go back here, because I completely messed something up, but I'll fix it later. You got your chorus. Beautiful chorus sounds. So basically, while you have all your basic effects you need, flanger, phaser, so you got all your basic effects right there. You got octavers in here as well. So you got octave down. So not only do you get all these, can you create pretty much, a plethora of sounds here, not just ambient sounds. You can make some real patches here. I'm gonna show you guys some other ones in a minute, but trying to go to an octaver right now just to give you an example of that. Does mono and polyphonic octavers. And it tracks very well. And mind you, this is all within this one unit, right? It's $600, but you're getting way more than $600 worth of stuff. You'll spend $600 just on a regular multi-effects unit that doesn't necessarily even have these synth parts and can't be played with a MIDI controller. Hold up 1 second. Get my fans working here. Don't want the good old camera cutting out on me. But so, you know, I can easily turn that to an octave up. Just go to the section here. We'll come over here and we're just have to open this filter up some. You can make that a polyphonic. What I like to do is come over to the, and you still have access to the amp envelope here, so I can come over here. I can set all types of stuff. I can set this to K, so that I can have it be short. If I want it longer, so, you know, you got plenty of options there, and I'll just play it by itself real quick. Tracks extremely well. So even with your chords, it tracks. And that's the difficult thing to, you know, wrap your mind around. This isn't just a synth pedal. This is a multi-effects unit attached to a synth pedal, if that makes sense. So in my mind, the way I'm kind of looking at it, this thing can really do anything I wanted to do. If I only had one pedal to do an entire album, it would be the Enzo X. It even has a compressor and all that in here as well, if I needed it. So say I wanted, in fact, let's go ahead and put that on the dry signal, so we can hear the compressor on the dry signal, right? So no compression happening at the moment. Well, from the Enzo X, rather, let's turn off that. Right? Add some compression in there. really wanted to compress it, but if I just need a little bit of compression, so you know that makes a huge difference. Yeah, it'll definitely, the Enzo X will definitely enhance any bass player, guitarist, and I would say pianist arsenal as well, you know, because you can always layer a lot of these sounds. I can't believe I messed up my order here. But, you know, I can do things like clavinet. These are all patches that I made. And I can even shift the pitches. And I literally have it set up for all this type of stuff already. I can even do stuff like, got my bass in my hands. Give me 1 second. So you can go from something like, you gotta use both feet for this. So I can raise the pitch, right? Sustain it. And actually, I'm using the Mercury X right there. I'm cheating a little bit. To freeze it. And now the Enzo X, I can play wherever I want to. So you could kind of cover a lot of ground just with the Enzo X by itself. Mind you, you still have, not only do you have the octavers, the drives in there, like overdrive, distortion, you also have your modulations. You know what I'm saying? You got an ARP in there, arpeggiator, and you still have a ton of modifiers to attach to all those different things. And you got 3 different types of filters, ladder, state, and a twin filter in there. So, excuse me. Mind you, you still have synth bass stuff in here that you know, you still can, not stuff, you can always build you a synth bass in here. It's not like it's really that difficult. Let's see what we got here. Let's go to a little bit of a bass. Let's go to 84. So you can get synth bass stuff in here. Oh, you changed that. That's loud, boy. So, you know, now I will say the Enzo X, you will need to have patches that are specifically for keyboard and some that are specifically for bass, you know, so like in terms of the synth stuff. So as you can see, I can have, this is the envelope technically, sorry. That's the envelope of the sound. But when you play it with a bass, it takes it's a slightly different sound. See how much, so you can use it for key bass, or you can use it, you know, the key bass stuff is even deeper. Really start getting into different territory with this. So, you know, just slightly different sounds, but still synth-based sounds. It just gives you more options. If you play with a key bass, it's going to be a slightly different sound. You play with your bass, it's going to be a slightly different sound. So, you know, those are things to take into account with the Enzo X. Mind you, you got mono synth and polyphonic synth in there. No other pedal is doing that right now at this level, with this level of effects and sound quality. You know, so at $600, and it's fully, you know, full MIDI ports in the back, full stereo in and out. Your dry mix, you know, you have a stereo dry and a stereo wet mix that you can blend between at all times. So, you know, you can place effects in different locations, either on the pre and the dry, or just the pre, or just the dry, or you can put it post the ambience effects in here as well, which we haven't even gotten to, you know, because it still has a full stereo echo in there, like, so full stereo echo. Then you got 3 different reverb algorithms from the Mercury X are also in the Enzo X. My favorite reverb algorithm in here is the Prism. The whole reason I wanted the Mercury X is because of the Prism algorithm in the Enzo X. So, you know, you can get some really weird sounds out this thing, and you can get some really essential sounds. So not only do you have the ability to switch back and forth automatically between your bass and a MIDI keyboard, right, helping keep the creative process flowing compared to the Future Impact V4. I have to literally go into the global settings, change it between bass and synth. Not saying that that's that big of a hassle. I love the Future Impact, and it still is the king of vintage bass synths, right? If this was a vintage bass synth battle, we wouldn't even be, the Future Impact is just sounds exactly like those vintage mono synths, right? But the Enzo X actually sounds very similar to, like I said, a CS80 or those type of vintage synths, polyphonic synths and things like that. So, it depends on what you want. Of course, the Enzo X is going to be capable of a lot more sounds because of the routing options, as well as the effects in here, the amount of effects you can put on things, the modifiers, the expression pedal. You can assign up to 6 different parameters to the expression pedal as well. So it definitely makes a huge difference. Yeah. Not only that, you can get drum sounds. You ain't even know that. And I even got the echo working with me there, so I could even top tempo. So a little hi-hat action there. Right? A little kick action. You can even tune your kick to the key of the song. No. Even, let me do it through here. Nice little snare sound. Almost like a reminiscent of the old drum machines. Now, I will say you will need to adjust this EQ a bit. Okay, I'm just testing how flexible it was with the timing of it. Because all you have to do is literally touch it with this particular way I have it set up. Y'all can just do this. Or come here. So all that's right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't tune the 432. To me, it doesn't make me any difference. If I tune the 432, nobody else is. So, you know, for me, it's not as a big of a deal, but I understand for you if that's what you using, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, that's completely understandable. Yeah, they, you know, you can't, you know, yeah, that might the tuning. I'm not sure. I haven't actually tried. So, you know, I don't. Maybe it's in reference to. Is it in reference to the tuner? Maybe. Let me see something. Let me see. Let me see if it's in reference because he's asking about being able to tune the 432 instead of 440, and you know, he was saying that they had to do an update to do it. But I wonder if that's in reference to the tuner. Because the tuner's right here, and I know my bass is in tune right now, so I'm going to turn it to 432. And now my bass is sharp. See? So let's see. Oh, you baby, see on that sound. Versus. Yeah, so if you actually tune your bass to 432 or tune, then it'll go down because this is, I think that's what it's in reference to the tuning that you're using for your bass so far, but I'm sure they'll find a way to make it in reference to the synth itself. It is. Because this is a 440G, and this is a 432G. So, yeah, I was I'm guessing it's the tuner here. Let me see if it's in the global menu. If I change it here, does it change in the global menu? Let's find out. Yeah, so it changes it here. So that's the tuner. Yeah, it even says it says tuner reference. So yeah, they'll definitely have to add that for the synth and stuff, like you said. So, but yeah, I don't get too deep into the different, I guess, tunings of that type of thing, reference tunings. So I'm good at 440. I just need my instrument all in tune with itself because ultimately, whatever I decide to play is going to be whatever I decide to play, whether it's tuned down a little bit or not. So let's keep it moving. So you got things like that. Of course, you got stuff like this in there. Oh, let me turn my string back up. Even doing ridiculous stuff like that's crazy. That is beautiful. Especially with this gate. The gate doing something there. And see, now this is the actual reverb in here. This is the reverb from the Enzo X right now. And this is the large prism. Oh, massive and beautiful that sounds. That's just insane. And you notice it's fading from my normal bass sound to the fade to the pitch. Up, octave up. And all that's within one unit. So the octaver, the reverb you're hearing, I don't even know if there's any modulation on it. Yep, it's a bit of flanger on there. Listen to the tail on that reverb. Look at the size of that reverb. Even got some filter on there. Gotta be some filter on there. Got some filter on there. And that's probably got something tied to the envelope of the sound, probably the blend of the unit. So if you go over to the modifiers, page 4 is the envelope. So that's attached to the oscillator dry blend. So the blend between the oscillator section, which the pitch section is in, right? The blend between that, when I play, it's set to take a certain amount of time to go from my actual bass sound. Well, not my actual bass sound, but the blended dry sound of the oscillator section, which goes through the amp envelope, which is pretty much creates the shape of the oscillator section, and then goes to the filter and all that stuff as well. If it was just the dry signal, it would just bypass all of that and just be dry, right? But it's going still running through the filter. Then it transitions. So while you got all that, you still got a beautiful lotus delay in here. Right, you can set each ear, each side to something different. You can have speed. Mind you, you can still run this modulations before or after this delay. So if you wanted it, the delays, the repeats to have the modulation on it, like within the actual repeats, well, because it's different. If it runs before, it's like it's going to repeat at the moment that modulation was in the cycle, versus if you have the modulation after the delay or reverb, it has that entire thing, including the reverb and the delay sound, running through that oscillator automatically. And before it, and compared to before, it's taking like a snapshot of where it was in that LFO, and then it's, so every delay sound may not sound exactly the same based on what's happening. But you put the modulation afterwards, all the repeats and stuff and the reverb are all going to be a little bit more consistent running in that LFO of that modulation. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, so that, as you can see, we went through, you know, piano type sounds. We went through brass, even things like just all types of just ridiculous stuff, you know. And of course, the pitch wheel is still available there, as well as the modulation wheel. So if I wanted to change that modulation, the speed. And all this is in one pedal. Like, for real. Like, you can't name another pedal that can do this much. Only thing this thing doesn't do is like amp models and stuff like that, which technically you really don't even need. That's what nobody ever tells you about amp models, but we love them. I love them. You know, now what you need is the preamps. The preamps is where all the magic happens. The speaker emulations you really don't need. You know, the IRs you really don't have to have. People have been recording bass without IRs forever, and you don't even need a bass amp to record. And for me, you really do need that preamp saturation and texture in there, whether it be something like I like the Colorbox V2 or the Ampeg SGT, Aguilar AG, the Magellan by Gensler, or even my bass amp heads like the Gens Bend Shuttle 9.0. Mind you, all that stuff is available for the Tone X1s. I keep all that stuff in my Tone X1s now, you know. But, so, I mean, for me, this is just me. I don't need a million types of chorus pedals and flangers and phasers, because I always just pick one or two that I really like anyway. And guess what? All those types and more I can get out of the ones that are available in here. Phase is phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, if they add some extra little textures in there, that's different. But, you know, a flanger is a flanger, a chorus is a chorus. That's why we know the sound of them. How else would you know how chorus sound if every chorus was that different? They're all made out of delay. So all the modulations are just different variations of delay. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, Future Impact, you can get chorus, flanger, phaser, and delay all out of the same section, because it's all made of the same thing, just different times. So we talking about milliseconds of time, but just very slight different in time and how things are you know, phasing. Phaser is going in and out of phase. You know, chorus is like running your pitch slightly up and down. You know, while, you know, so it's just how they affecting things is really the key. But you don't need a ton of those. These are some of the highest quality I've ever heard, and I'm very much satisfied with just these in here. And it's all of them. You also get a ring modulator in here, the best ring modulator. The best ring modulator. Like, because you can assign it to different things. And let me see, pull it up. Yeah. Mind you, I'm not getting paid from Meris or anything to say this stuff. I just really like this pedal. I just was thinking about it today and designing all these sounds the last couple of days, like them drum sounds, the pad sounds, the string sounds, the brass sounds, all these vintage synthesizer sounds. And, I got the thing, I was like, dang, this thing can literally do pretty much the majority of things I needed to do. Even with the Future Impact, I'm very rarely using 4 oscillators to build a sound, right? I'm pretty much using 2 on here. I might use 3, but for the most part, 2 oscillators gets you the majority of these sounds, you know what I'm saying, in different ways. So make sure you hit that like button for me. Don't let me hanging out here, you know what I'm saying? If you're a little lost, feel free to ask questions about Enzo X, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so ring modulator. Let's go to right. And it's just, you can do stupid stuff like that with the ring modulator in there, where it's because you can attach things to the envelope of your sound, right? Or I can attach it to the LFO. I can have that just sweeping back and forth. I got 2 LFOs in here. You get LFO A and LFO B. You get a SNH, which is like a random thing. I can have it just going crazy randomly. And I can have it with the envelope. I can have it set to where it is right now, where the mix is triggered by the hold button here. So when it's off, I'm just running regular bass. And the as you can see, the preset's still on. But when I want to trigger it, I can just hit that hold modifier. And not only that, I can run anything through that. I can run octave down through that, and it's still gonna be fire. See, let me get my, because I know this joint tend to be a little loud on me today. So just nasty work. I normally can't find a good use for the ring modulators I've had in other devices rather. That's why I've never bought a separate ring modulator pedal. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because that's all the ring modulation I need. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course I could build different ones out of that. I can make that like I said, I can set that to a sequence. You got a 16-step sequencer in there as well. You can set it to aftertouch. You got aftertouch on here for the keyboard, all that type of stuff. So not only do you get all your filters, you know what I'm saying, you get all your modulations, including that, and a bit crusher. It's a bit crusher in here too. In the drive section, you get full stereo echo, right? And not only that, but you got things like half speed on that echo that you can use. Then you have 3 of the best algorithms in here, in my opinion. The prism in here, you get the small, medium, and large prism, which is directly taken from the Mercury X. So, and I can do stuff like gated. Well, I don't know. I probably could create like a gated reverb type sound with it by just triggering it with the whole modifiers. So, excuse me. And this thing, if you wanted to play this with a saxophone or a trumpet or any of that stuff, it will track that stuff as well. So it not only just it tracks bass and guitar, it'll track other instruments. Like if I wanted, say I have a trumpet player come in the studio and I want to do some funky stuff with the trumpet lead, I can record it into the computer and later on run it through the Enzo X and build some synth to go with it, or I can build like some harmony into there if I wanted to. It just gives you a ton of options. You know what I'm saying? And so it literally, I can literally take an Enzo X and just do it. Like, listen, this, mind you, none of this is synchronized. Don't kill me. Like literally every part of this track is the Enzo X. What's going on, folks? Usual suspects showing up. So everything from the horn part to, you know, the little saxophone brass type part, to the strings, to the synth sound you heard on the very first layer. That's actually one layer. That's one loop. You know how expensive that sound is? It's so juicy. That's a juicy synth right there, boy. And like I said, it works for chords. Bass, that's a juicy synth bass. It's the same sound. And it's polyphonic. So, yeah. I highly recommend getting your Enzo X. There isn't anything on the market that is even close to all what it does. The Future Impact V4 VIP is definitely a different thing. Think of this as like a mini Moog like type, or a Moog type synth bass, mono synth. And think of this, this will actually do, what's that other one? The really big one. It'll do sounds like that ARP 2600, I believe. Yeah, I think that's the name of that keyboard. Yeah, it do sounds like that, right? Enzo X definitely gonna get you like a closer to those CS80 sounds, you know what I'm saying, and polyphonic stuff, and it's still gonna be a multi-effects unit for your bass as well as the Future Impact. Future Impact definitely has some, has drives, overdrive. It has a full harmony block in there where you can have like 3-part harmony with the octaver. Everything is monophonic, but meaning you can only play one note at a time, versus the Enzo X is polyphonic and monophonic, so you can play multiple notes, up to 6 notes at a time with this. And so those, and you can also play one note at a time. But the Enzo X, the reason it only has 2 oscillators is because each voice that it plays has those 2 oscillators on it. So it's really like 12 oscillators. So when you really look at it, it's super advanced piece of gear. But yeah, the main difference between them is that, and you know, they have slightly different uses. Like I said, this is what I'm going to be using for pads and all that stuff. Like you can easily take any old pad in here, throw a little EP, and you in business. Hold up, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me check something. You guys, let's go here. Be right back. So, yeah, we back. But, yeah, so is that the... You know, you can get drum sounds out of the Future Impact V4 VIP, and you can get harmony out of this too. But, like I said, if you want something that you'll be able to play chords and synth bass and, you know, use MIDI controller to play with the sounds as well, you can't beat the Enzo X. And like I said, it switches back and forth automatically. So if you are looping like I do, I can go to my solo sounds, right to my bass, you know. Bam. So I hope you guys, you know, got a lot out of that. You know, synth is a whole thing that you really have to explore. Like, further I go down the rabbit hole with it, the more I realize, you know, how easily I can get to other sounds. Now, mind you, I've made a lot of these sounds with different pedals. Even before I had the Mel 9 Key 9, thanks to Bill Rupert from Electro Harmonics, you know, showed you how to, if you watch any of the old Electro Harmonic stuff, he actually shows you how, well, in my opinion, with the Hog 2, he showed how I think they came up with the Key 9 Mel 9. Now, I haven't confirmed this, but from what I saw, you know, the reason, got going on here. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy my Mel 9 Key 9. Oh, and that reminds me, that's what I'm missing. That click sound with that key is actually a ring modulator. I forgot. I just thought about it when I started talking about the Bill Rupert stuff. So, yeah, you can get down and dirty with when you really learn how to manipulate effects and not just throw them on a bass sound and that's it. Like, you know, most people just throw on a chorus or something or a compressor and an EQ and really don't know what they're doing with any of them. That's why I take the time to explain it to you guys, because I don't just assume anybody knows how to use an EQ. Like, it sounds good in theory. Oh, this is the bass, no, this is the mids, this is the treble, but you really don't know how to use an EQ. And if you really want to test it, go try to mix an entire record by yourself. And you'll find out real fast if you know how to use an EQ for real. Or if you really know how to use a compressor. Another time I'll go and throw a bunch of presets on there from Logic. You know, Logic got the plugins with the presets. I'm talking about do it from scratch. You will be confused. And it's fine. It's fine because you just have to learn what the parameters are for different effects. You know, for instance, when you go look at a compressor, the compressors are going to have an attack and a release right? Time. You need to know what that does. You need to know what the ratio does, you know, the high pass filter on there, you know, especially for bass, because sidechain high pass filter, or just how do you sidechain it in general? You know, do you need to sidechain it? Do you need to high pass it, the bass signal altogether to a certain point so the kick can come through? This is stuff that you figure out over time, and through research. Knowledge is the key. Yeah, a lot of times compressors confuse a lot of people. I'll demystify it for you right now, real easy. And I ain't even gonna get to no technical terms. This is why y'all like my channel. See, this is why you gotta ask questions, folks. Go ahead, chime in. You getting his questions answered. Everybody ain't got whatever they asked me, I checked it out. You know, if you got any questions, let me know. So let's take the Empress compressor. It's really easy to understand this input here. So let's get my bass in place. I can't believe I messed up my presets. All right. So this is the uncompressed bass signal, right? The attack is pretty much how long it's going to take. You see this light coming down? I have it set to a 4-to-1 ratio. So just look at it like this. A 2-to-1 ratio is really light. A 4-to-1 is a medium, and that's what most bass players or studio engineers will be comfortable with and like. Then you got a 10-to-1, which is limiting, getting into the limiting territory. And when you're running like a 10-to-1, you're gonna want to have the mix half compressed, half your dry bass signal, and then you get all that punch from here, right? And you get that bottom end, right? Different sound than I think I knocked my bass out too. Let me see something. No, we good. Okay, so that's the ratios, right? The ratio is pretty much how much is compressing. Then we got, like I said, the mix is just how much dry signal, your regular open dry signal, or the compressed signal. I like to run mine, if you want to run parallel compression, is just you'll have half of that wet signal, half of the dry signal. Right now, so let's go to the attack time. So the attack time is just how fast. Look how much faster it's getting to that compared to. Let me see how I can get you guys to see that. It's really fast. We're talking about milliseconds, so you may not be able to see it, but I can tell that it's a little slower. But so pretty much, if I don't want the compressor to cut the exact first part of my sound down, right? You got to think about how a compressor works. It pretty much takes the peaks and brings them down while simultaneously bringing out these lower portions. So imagine this is like, let me see here. Imagine this is like low to high, right? Volumes. It's going to bring down the highest volume notes and bring up the lowest volume notes, right? Ultimately, that's why it sounds squashed when you compress too much. So with that, we're talking about the attack time, which is how long between when it hears that sound and when it actually clamps down to bring the volume down to normalize it equally loud, compress it rather. So bam. So I like, just for the general rule, I like a longer attack. You know, and most studio engineers would agree. Now the release, is how fast that compression lets go. As you can see here. Now, if I do this, look how long it takes to, this is really obvious. Right, that's with the release time all the way up. Now, if I have it here, watch how fast it releases. A lot faster. I have it here. Versus here, all the way up. So that's a visual example of what's happening when it's moving slower. It's just taking less time to release the compressor. Now the other important factor, and I like a fast release. So long attack, fast release. I like it generally a 4-to-1 ratio works fine. If I want a parallel compress, I do a 10-to-1 and do 50-50 with the dry and wet mix. And for something like this, the input knob actually functions as the threshold. So essentially, the more I push this, or in other cases, the more, the lower that threshold, the more the sound will compress. Because essentially, you're setting, remember I said at the high peaks, when you get to that threshold that you set, say your threshold is here, but your sound goes up here, it's going to, the threshold, when it gets to this threshold, it's going to compress, right? So that's the real point. Now, if I set my threshold up here, above where my signal is, it won't do any compression unless something hits it, that threshold. So that's the way, threshold's kind of like the ceiling of when it starts to compress. So you kind of think of it like that, and then the attack is how long it takes to actually get to this ratio of 4-to-1, for instance. And the release is how long it takes to let go of that 4-to-1 ratio that it just compressed it in. Right, and in this case, you got a sidechain high pass, which literally just keeps it from of course, the loudest part of your bass is the low frequencies, right? So the high pass filter, the purpose of the sidechain high pass filter on here is to make sure that your sound gets a little bit more evenly compressed, not just compressed based on the low end. Because you see how, let me switch y'all back. Let me slow it down. Let me slow that release down. We're going to push into it more. Yeah, we're going to push all the way into it. So, right, if my low end is what's going to affect it, say I got my high lows boosted, I'm going to get a lot more compression here than here. But if I was to high pass this, and I'm not actually taking out any of my lows here. It's just high passing the signal that's triggering the compression. I'm going to get less compression. Versus without it, now I'm getting a 10-to-1 ratio. But with the high pass filter on, now I'm getting way less compression. And it's way more even compression overall. So that's the point of that. I hope that helps. But yeah, so the other thing is, the Enzo X even has a compressor on it. So say you're one of those people that really just want to get down to one pedal, and you really just want to have to learn one thing. I would recommend it be an Enzo X. I wouldn't even go with a regular multi-effects unit at this point for myself. I'm just speaking for myself. I would go with the Enzo X. If I had one pedal, it wouldn't even be a regular multi-effects. It would just be the Enzo X, and I can do an entire album. I could do film scoring. You know what I'm saying? I could pretty much do anything I needed to do. You know, I wouldn't have like piano sounds or actual piano sound or actual EP sound. But I can get something that a substitute for that. And for real, it would probably be more creative sonically than just the piano would. You know, a lot of times we have our go-to sounds like a piano or electric piano EP or, you know, strings and different things like that. But the Enzo X, because at this moment I haven't figured out how to get exactly to those sounds a little closer, or like, you know, that's my iPad, right? And that's a sample EP, right? So that wasn't made from synth. So that's a lot. That's pretty much the actual sound of it, just different little recordings playing back. You know what I'm saying? So versus this, I had to kind of create that from scratch. And like I said, I just realized or remembered from playing the Key 9 that little metallic sound in the EP, which I'm not far off. That's not far off from an EP. If I can get more of that metallic sound in there. And this also has the ability to do FM tones as well. So you have this X mod. Let's see what we got here. You got this X mod knob in here. That would be, yeah, I believe that's. Let's go. And it's even responsive to your playing. Yep. And not only that, that applies to literally every compressor. Like that's literally what a compressor is. It's just I like the Empress compressor, you know, just I'm sorry, people, I jumped back, but my man made a comment, you know, just recapping what we talked about with the compression. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is, what you said. So, you know, I like the ones that have indicators on them as well because you can see how much the signal is being compressed, you know, versus when you don't have these type of meters, you know, it feels like you're guessing, you know, if you don't have experience with compression. So I definitely would say this, having a pedal with a meter like the Empress compressor definitely would help you learn. And you'll even see your signal here. So you'll see an input signal here and your compression rate here, or gain reduction here rather. But you can get this nasty, just the nasty sounds. So let me see what else. Just changing the waveform. That's a square, triangle. No, saw. triangle. Square one is the rounded side of that. So I mean, for me, I would take that and then go over to the filter. The filter makes all the difference in the world. I couldn't express that enough. So you didn't get the sounds like that. And all I did was take a very metallic sound, very metallic. That was super like aggressive. Use the filter to smoothen it out. Now, you got different filters in here. And you can just get dirty with this thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. I wanted to thin the sound out. And an interesting thing happens when you add width, the oscillator width. It for the square wave, it narrows. It creates basically the further you go towards 100, the skinnier that square wave becomes into a pulse wave, right? Then you have the triangle and the saw wave forms in here where you're actually adding harmonics to it. So let's see. We gotta open this filter back up. All right, so we there. Let's see, should be second oscillator. can come over here to sorry, I'm messing with oscillator 1. Launcher. Let's get rid of some of this other stuff real quick. Like, we don't need no modulation right now. None of that. So this is like just the, which one is this? The way, just the triangle. I can come over here. So without the oscillator width on, this is just your wave, your triangle wave by itself. Right, nice round waveform. I'm about to actually sit this bass down so I can show you guys this a little easier. All right, let's rock and roll and show you guys how to make a bass synth real quick while we're here. As a little bonus, you know what I'm saying, on top of the other stuff. You didn't even know Enzo X could do all this, did you? You thought it was just a regular pedal. It ain't. Ain't none of these Series X pedals by Meris normal pedals. This is the best reverb pedal ever. Like, I don't care. I stand on it. I'll put it up against anything that I've seen, you know, and I've seen a lot. But the Enzo X is the best synth pedal overall, the most useful to you. I don't think I have one gig since I had it that I really don't use it on. But yeah, let's get to it. So if we want to add some harmonics to that, and you know, bring that oscillator width down. And that versus like the saw wave. Let's also bring that. Definitely fattens that thing up. So definitely can make a bass synth with that. And then we'll keep these, and we got it pitched down an octave as well. We're bringing, so I can choose to change the pulse width of the square wave as well, all the way to its something real skinny like that. I like it right there. Yeah. Then you can just a little X mod. If I wanted to trash it up. So this is just essentially not the raw waveform. I can't do the actual raw waveform because I can't turn off the filters, right? So that's a good starting place there. Like I said, if I wanted to get a little grittier versus so I can actually attach a LFO to this width right here. So of oscillator 1, I'm going to go to modifier 1, assign that to the oscillator width. Now we just gotta, let's set it to a speed. We're going to turn this off. Hey, you can even do straight up sine wave. That's actually the oscillator gain of the gain of the second oscillator. Just making sure nothing else is in the way. There we go. All right, so yeah, we can start there. So we got a nice little pulsating going on. What is that? PWM or yeah, pulse wave modulation. You can change how much of it you want. Change the speed. can set it to a note division. Come over to global and set my tempo. Where is it? Yeah, 98. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the whole. Well. Okay, so I got the whole modifier right now set up like a it's set up like a pitch bend. So on the whole modifier button, I just got it attached to the so 34. So yeah, that's pretty fun. So yeah, I quite like that a bit. Use it like a step bend. And even without the filter, we haven't even got the filter involved. We haven't got much else involved just yet. All we have is the oscillators so far. Like literally. And pulse modulation. It reminds me of this, what's that group name? What is it? They out of New Orleans, but they do like, it's a New Orleans rock group. They got a song like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but if I do, I will definitely let you know. But yeah, you got, so even from here, right, we can take that and we can do other stuff. Now we can have the filter assigned to that same LFO as well. So say we wanted the filter to move with that LFO, we come over to the expression pedal page, right? Set this expression source to LFO A instead of expression pedal. And then we just go and change this to, say, the frequency cutoff or something. Let's see. Or the frequency envelope amount. Which isn't set to anything at the moment. say I wanted it all to be synced up together, but I wanted to use a different LFO. So I still have LFO-B. I could come over, well, I didn't need to assign it here, but I'll just go over to LFO-B since I already got it assigned there. And if I wanted to, I can put another parameter on LFO-B. Say we wanted the pitch to just oscillate like that. Or, yeah, that X mod. And all I'm doing is playing with the note division there. I'm not playing with the actual speed. I'm using a note division. So I could actually take that note division there and assign it to a parameter. So we're going to turn it to off. And then I'm going to use the expression pedal I have attached to the Graviton N1 to control that. So let's go to expression pedal. So we got that up and running, right? Yep. So we got the, just so everybody's caught up, we got 2 oscillators running. Which ones was it? Let me make sure I'm not misquoting. Just go back and catch everybody up. So we running a square and a saw wave, both pitched down an octave. And we got some pulse width stuff going on here with the oscillator widths. And then we have LFO-B also. So LFO-A is triggering oscillator 2's width, and LFO-A is triggering the X mod. So those two things actually offset each other in the Enzo X. So as I engage the X mod, it disengages the oscillator for width 2. And as it's going just through the motions in general, it just does its thing magically. So all right, so we need this assigned to a modifiers. Oh, can we do that? Let's note persist. Let's see. Clock tempo. I actually found something I might want them to add. I want to be able to play with the note divisions without touchiness. Let me look in the manual, see if there's a MIDI. It might be a MIDI CC command for it, but you don't know. This is why you gotta keep the manual on hand. Let me see. I just want LFO A B. Okay, I don't even have a MIDI, so I can't assign it to the MIDI either. This might be something I might, hit them up about. Ask, can they add this? I feel like there's a way to do this. I know there's a way to speed it up and slow it down, but I want to use the note divisions. I guess technically it's the same thing. So, okay. So maybe we assign this to the clock. We'll do the expression pedal to the clock. Clock and tempo. And then we'll have it set to go back to the LFO. Oh, that's going to affect LFO-A I know what I could change. So So, yeah, as you can see, just assigning that to different parameters or assigning the modifiers to different parameters changed everything. Like, and I just added a bit of noise to it. Getting into that dubstep territory with that joint. So, yeah, of course you can assign different, I mean, pretty much most things you can assign to other things. So, only thing I would add, I guess Meris would be right there to be able for the LFOs to be able to control for the modifiers, the two LFOs, to be able to control the speed, the LFO division with your foot or with the expression pedal. Let me see something. Well, no, I know I can sign it, and yeah, so I can't do it. But if they could add that, that would be nice. So yeah, that's how you essentially assign it to different things. I don't have to have that filter assigned, that parameter assigned to there. I can put those parameters to different modifiers if I wanted to. Step sequence. So let's put that, let's take that off the LFO. And we're going to put it on the sequencer. Matter of fact, let's see if we just put, let's make them interact. See all that's happening? But you get the point. So, essentially, this thing is whatever you decide you want to use it for, compared to including everything from a bass and guitar or keys. I mean, all these same effects like the modulations, drives, filters, the ambience effects, which are like echo and the reverbs, are all usable for every instrument. That's the crazy part. This is not a guitar pedal. This is not a synth pedal. This is a pedal for everybody in general. Like, it's people ask me all the time, what's the one pedal I would recommend? The Enzo X is that pedal. Now, whether you take the time to learn how to use it or actually understand it is a different thing. It's as simple as it can be. Is well laid out. Once you know how to work a synth, like I said, you saw that stuff I dialed out first. You'll have some blank presets in there as well. So if you start with the blank presets and you just learn start with the oscillators. If you want to get into the synth side, start with the oscillators and go from there. Oscillators, then move on to understanding how the oscillators and the amp envelope section correspond. Like the amp envelope section is pretty much how those oscillators are going to come through. Is it going to fade in? Are they going to sustain for a long time? Is it going to be like a short dunk, plucking sound? Is all determined there. Then from there, the filter is what ultimately shapes the sound to get it either rounder or harsher or to cut through more, whatever you want it to be. You can do that pretty much with the filter section. You got low pass, band pass, and high pass, and 3 different versions of that. The negative 24 dB ladder filter, the negative 12 state filter, and the twin filter, which has twin peaks that you can set the width of and all that good stuff. So just like example of that would be the baseballs filter. So then you got tube drive, transistor drive, and op amp in there, along with a bit crusher, ring mod. Come on now. And you can assign all those different parameters to modifiers and up to 6 of them to your expression pedal. Or if you're not going to use those 6 for the expression pedal, you can assign one of those to the aftertouch effects or any of the modifiers, the SNH, which is a random modifier, like it pretty much is random numbers generator type thing. Then you have the envelope, which is based on when you play and release. And then you have things like the 2 LFOs and a full 16-step sequencer. Come on now. I know it's pretty much all these other synth pedals on steroids. That's what it pretty much is. And the main thing it does have over the future impact, like I said, you heard me just create a very nice bass synth sound in here very easily. Didn't take long at all. The main difference is I can literally edit from start to finish right here. It's not frustrating, and I got enough knobs to do everything I need to do. It's well laid out, especially in the text mode. I don't recommend using the other mode that it comes in. As soon as you get it, go to the global settings and turn the view mode on text so it looks like this. And then this way, when you go to a screen, you have all your parameters right there, right, for this screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have all 6 parameters per screen available. You need to turn the page, bam, bam. All these are right there, right next to corresponding parameters. So, compared to the future impact, if I don't have my laptop, I'm short. If I don't have my computer, I'm short. I can't do it with an app, an iPhone or iPad either. If I have to do everything in the app for the V4 VIP. And for something like the MXR bass synth, I have to memorize all these secondary functions because I'm not carrying around a separate piece of paper to know what this pedal does. So ultimately, I have to, at bare minimum, know what these the secondary voice functions do for each knob. For instance, you hold down the voice knob, You can control the volume or the split of the upper voice. With this knob, with this one, you can control the noise mix. You control the glide here, or, you can control the LFO, how much of the LFO is going to the modulation or to the filter. You can set the filter, the LFO here as well. Holding down the voice button, you can change the filter envelope amount here. And, so you have to memorize all this stuff. And that's not always convenient, you know what I'm saying? So it's not as convenient as people like to make it seem. And to be honest, stop getting synth pedals talking about it's not live friendly. What is live friendly? Turn on the sound and play. You should not be making sounds on stage. You're gonna get fired, bro. You're gonna get fired trying to. I wanna be on stage. Unless it's your gig, bro. Don't get on nobody else's gig that ain't request that. Trying to make no synth bass patch on the fly. It should be right at the house. You feel me? Don't make it on the fly. There's no bass synth that you need to be making on the fly. So, even with the Enzo X, I have all the availability there. I'm not touching a knob on there, but I ain't even touching this knob, to be honest. Like, I can scroll through my MIDI, through my pedals and stuff. So I'm not fooling with none of that, none of this tweaking that you're seeing me doing. Am I doing on stage? That's not entertaining. You gotta remember, your show is not about you. The show is not about you. The show is about the audience, whether it's your show or anybody else's show. It's about the audience. So make it entertaining for them. Don't be up there fiddling around with knobs you don't need to, unless that is your part of your spiel, So like there is a group, like they carry around these big, huge synthesizers and stuff, but even they have things pre-programmed. All they really doing is tweaking filters on stage. They ain't really, and they're not tweaking it to like, oh, this isn't good enough. It's part of the actual performance of the sound and the song. You see what I'm saying? So that's different. But you can actually do that with the Future Impact. All your filter options that you need to change on the fly are right here. So you don't have that problem. If you want to tweak some of that, the filter cutoff, just turn it on filter cutoff and you can sweep it with this knob. And same thing here. Don't be on stage trying to adjust all this and that on the fly. You're more likely to create a terrible sound than to actually get a detailed sound that'll be right spot on to what you want it to be. So don't fiddle around with that. Maybe the filter cut off. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, cut it out. Cut it out. I'm tired of hearing it. I was going to get the Future Impact, but I couldn't create bass synths on stage. You're not going to be creating bass synths on stage. That's irritating to even say. Why would you think you're going to do that and be hired? What? Nah. The sounds are done at home, so that does even the playing field. But I do like the fact that if I'm traveling or something, I don't feel like putting on my laptop and all that extra stuff, I can just create whole sounds and stuff in the studio. And if I'm away from my computer, I can just create whole stuff in studio situations like that. But for the Future Impact, I have to have the laptop. This has no app at all. This, you could do it on it and in the app. And you got the Predator app on your computer that you can edit if you don't want to edit on the pedal. Something that, the MXR bass synth doesn't have. So this is like the best of both worlds with these. By the time you buy both of these, if you're not going to be digging into vintage bass synths like that, the Enzo X is going to cover all your bass synth needs anyway. You know what I'm saying? Or key bass, stuff. You can do all that stuff with the Enzo X, which is crazy. You can make drum sounds, because if you know how to use a synthesizer, you can get to those drum sounds. You can keyboard sounds, string, brass, clavinet. You know, I don't even know if I thought I showed the clavinet sound. But it's like a cross between a clavinet and a harpsichord that's getting funky. You feel me? Especially like when you hold it, you get closer to that harpsichord sound almost. And I actually made that on accident. Like, you'll accidentally mess around and make something on the Enzo X, which is insane. Because ain't not only that, but then you got 100 storage slots. Ain't like it's a vintage synth where you make all these sounds and you can't even recall them. They right there. I could just be bam, 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 switching sounds. Switching sounds. Switching sounds. And I know a lot of of course, keyboards can do this. Keyboards have been at these capabilities. But to squeeze all that into a pedal, not a rack. You feel me? Not a rack. Into a pedal is insane. It's just insane. I'm sorry, guys. Like, if you don't go and run and grab your Enzo X, I'm telling you, if they ever stop selling them, they will definitely be a collector's item. These are going to be collector's items. Like, even in the future, people going to still be like, I miss having my old Meris Enzo X or whatever. These are going to be collector's items. And just like I feel like this particular Future Impact V4 VIP will also be a collector's item. By the way, they actually have some DX7 sounds. They add in a whole bunch of new capabilities like the DX7, Yamaha DX7. You'll have some of those bass synths in here now, and the ability to create them on here. So, and they are planning on improving the tracking. So that firmware is supposed to be out in the next couple weeks. Actually, it's supposed to be out in March. This is March. So, I actually love the Future Impact, but woo, Enzo X. All right, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Hopefully you enjoyed that and got something out of that, learned some things that, everything is not as you see it on the internet. You've seen a lot more people, and always remember that the internet is a marketing game. So when you see a pedal too much, like the MXR bass synth, it's not that they lied, it's just that they marketed a lot. That's why I was in front of you. That's why everybody got it, you know what I'm saying, was because they did an excellent job marketing and rolling that joint out. I mean, amazing. From a marketing standpoint, that was an insane pedal rollout. One of the best I've seen. And not only that, the pedal does deliver. Does have some great bass synths. Is it going to be a ARP 2600 or a Moog? No. If you want that, you're going to have to get a Future Impact. But it will be a fantastic bass synth on its own, like where you will be able to create some unique bass synths that, you know, other pedals will not be able to create. So that's why I have it on my pedal board. It's a great option. Also, you know, you can create drum sounds with this. I did a whole video on how to do drum sounds with your synth pedals and get those extra sounds out of them. So check them out. All right, folks, I will catch you another time. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I am the Bass Nagus, and make sure you hit that Cash App, Super Chat, all that good stuff, and follow me on all social media at the Bass Nagus, Negus. What's going on? Boy, if you don't get out of here, boy, you don't come on, you just come on to play no drums. Boy, out of here. What's wrong with folks? Yeah, folks just come on this joint with requests and just demands. Like, what? Play the drums. You know how much I get paid to play stuff for demand? Boy, it ain't going to be for free. That ain't going to be what happened. People crazy. Good gracious. You can't make a living out here to save your life. You talk about one thing, they come on, you're talking about playing drums. We ain't talked about playing drums other than the Enzo X and the synth pedals at all. What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? What are you doing? Huh? You sitting on your couch. You could be doing something. I'm about to give you it used to be a commercial like that. I don't know if y'all ever seen that commercial. We got all these little colleges and stuff, little adult colleges. They always do these commercials, make you feel bad. You're sitting on your couch, you're doing nothing. You could be in school bettering yourself. Just trying to make you feel. I'm just watching TV, sir. But I appreciate y'all. I do appreciate you chiming in, though. Maybe if you come back another time, you'll catch me playing some drums. And I am going to start doing some more of the multi-instrumentalist stuff, drums and keys on the channel. So make sure you subscribe. Let me see. You're going to ask for a request. You got to at least hit that subscribe button so next time you know when I am playing drums. Don't be like, Dad, you didn't even say hi. My man didn't even say hi. That's how folks be doing you. Hey, play the drums. Hello to you, too. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I got to go. Y'all been amazing. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, check out Patreon. Oh, before we go, check out all my preset packs for the Future Impact V4, the Enzo X, the Mercury X, C4 synth. Got 20-something preamp packs and bass amp packs for the Tone X and Tone X1 pedals. And for the Zoom MS60B Plus, the Zoom MS70CDR Plus, and the Zoom B6. All my preset packs are on my Patreon, as well as if you want to support the channel for $1, $5 a month. Or if you found all this information useful, hit the Cash App Super Chat. I greatly appreciate you. Peace.